The moment Eliza Montgomery walked into Jake's small coffee shop, time seemed to freeze. Her designer heels clicked against the worn wooden floor as every head turned. No one expected the city's most notorious billionaire to appear in this humble neighborhood cafe, especially not Jake Wilson, a struggling single father who was about to receive the most unexpected proposition of his life. Hey there, welcome to Heartstring Stories. If you enjoy emotional journeys that tug at your soul, hit that like button and subscribe for more captivating tales that remind us what truly matters in life. Jake wiped his calloused hands on his apron, watching as the woman who graced magazine covers and business journals approached his counter. Her eyes, sharp as cut diamonds, assessed everything with clinical precision. What could someone like her possibly want from someone like him? Are you Jake Wilson? Her voice carried the confidence of someone used to being obeyed. That's me, he replied, trying to mask his confusion. What can I get you? She didn't look at the menu. I want a baby. Can you help? The coffee mug Jake had been holding crashed to the floor, shattering into pieces much like his composure. Why me? He managed to ask, his voice barely audible over the hushed whispers filling the cafe. Little did he know that this bizarre encounter would change everything he thought he knew about wealth, family, and what it truly means to be rich. Eliza Montgomery had everything money could buy. At 38, she had built Montgomery Enterprises from the ground up, transforming it into a tech empire that rivaled the giants of Silicon Valley. Her face was plastered across business magazines with headlines like "Ice Queen of Tech" and "The Billionaire Who Never Sleeps." Her penthouse overlooked the city skyline, her garage housed cars worth more than most people's homes, and her closet was filled with clothes she would wear only once. But Eliza had a secret that not even her board of directors knew: she was running out of time. Recent medical tests had revealed that her window for having children was rapidly closing. After years of putting her career first, the realization hit her like a freight train. She wanted a child, needed a child, before it was too late. Ms. Montgomery, I've compiled a list of the top sperm donors in the country, her assistant, Margot, said as she placed a folder on Eliza's immaculate glass desk. Eliza barely glanced at it. I don't want some anonymous donor, Margot. I want to know exactly who the father of my child will be. Perhaps a colleague? Someone from your social circle? Eliza scoffed. The vultures I associate with? They'd use my child as leverage in business deals before the baby could even walk. That's when she remembered the article she'd read months ago, a human interest piece about a single father who had turned his life around after his wife's death, raising his daughter while building a small but beloved coffee shop from nothing. The piece had moved her, though she'd never admit it. The man, Jake Wilson, had shown a resilience and devotion to family that seemed almost foreign in her world of cutthroat deals and temporary alliances. Find me everything you can on Jake Wilson, she told Margot. The coffee shop owner from the East Side. Jake's life revolved around two things: his 7-year-old daughter, Lily, and Brood Awakening, the coffee shop he'd opened 3 years ago after his wife Sarah's death. The shop barely made enough to keep them afloat, but it allowed him to be present for Lily in ways his previous corporate job never had. Daddy, can we have pancakes for dinner? Lily asked, her gap-toothed smile melting away the stress of the day as they walked home from her school. I don't know. Didn't we have pancakes yesterday? He teased, already knowing he'd give in. But these would be Tuesday pancakes. Completely different. She skipped ahead, her backpack bouncing with each step. Their apartment was small, just 2 bedrooms above an old bookstore, but Jake had made it a home. Photos of Sarah lined the walls, keeping her memory alive for Lily. Jake often found himself talking to these photos late at night, asking Sarah for guidance, wondering if he was doing right by their daughter. The morning after Eliza's shocking visit, Jake dropped Lily off at school and opened the shop with a sense of dread. Would the billionaire return? Had he imagined the whole bizarre encounter? His question was answered when a sleek black car pulled up outside at precisely 9 a.m. Eliza stepped out, this time dressed slightly less formally but no less intimidating. "Mr. Wilson," she said as she approached the counter. "I believe we have matters to discuss." Jake glanced around at his handful of regular customers. "I'm working. I've arranged for someone to cover your shift." As if on cue, a professional-looking man in a crisp white shirt entered the cafe. "This is Thomas. He's a certified barista who will manage your establishment for the next 2 hours." Before Jake could protest, Eliza continued, "I'll compensate you for your time, of course. Shall we?" She gestured to a corner table. Stunned and slightly annoyed by her presumption, Jake reluctantly followed after giving Thomas a quick rundown of the basics. "Let me be clear about what I'm proposing," Eliza said once they were seated, her voice businesslike. "I want a child. My medical team has informed me that my fertility window is closing rapidly. I don't have time for dating, marriage, or the traditional route to motherhood." "And what exactly does this have to do with me?" Jake asked, though he was beginning to understand her outrageous proposition. "You've proven yourself to be an exceptional father under difficult circumstances. Your genetic material is desirable, you're healthy, intelligent, and your daughter is well-adjusted despite losing her mother. I'm proposing a business arrangement. You provide what I need to conceive, and I provide financial compensation that would secure your daughter's future." Jake stared at her, incredulous. "You want to buy my sperm?" "I prefer to think of it as a mutually beneficial transaction. You need financial stability, I need a suitable genetic donor." "Lady, I'm not a prize bull at auction," Jake said, his voice rising. "And parenthood isn't a transaction. It's messy and hard and wonderful and heartbreaking. You can't just throw money at it and expect it to work out." Eliza's perfect composure slipped for just a moment. "I'm well aware of the challenges. I've researched extensively." "Research?" Jake laughed without humor. "Did your research tell you what it feels like to hold your child when she has a fever of 104? Or how to explain to a 5-year-old why her mother isn't coming home? Did it teach you how to braid hair or check for monsters under the bed?" "I'm a quick learner," Eliza said stiffly. "Parenthood isn't a skill you acquire. It's a relationship you build, day by day, mistake by mistake." Jake stood up. "I'm sorry about your situation, Ms. Montgomery, but I can't help you." As he walked away, Eliza called after him, "I haven't even told you what I'm offering." Jake turned back. "There isn't a number big enough." That evening, as Jake helped Lily with her homework, his mind kept returning to Eliza's proposition. Not because he was considering it, the idea was absurd, but because of the desperation he'd glimpsed beneath her polished exterior. He recognized it because he'd seen it in his own eyes after Sarah died, the fear of facing life's biggest challenges alone. "Daddy, you're not listening," Lily complained, tugging on his sleeve. "I asked if whales have belly buttons." "Sorry, pumpkin. I was thinking about something from work." He focused on her question, grateful for the distraction from thoughts of the billionaire and her bizarre request. Later, after tucking Lily in, Jake sat at his small kitchen table reviewing the month's bills. The reality was stark. The coffee shop was barely breaking even, Lily would need braces soon, and the rent had just increased. He'd been putting off repairs on the shop's espresso machine, and the property owner had hinted at selling the building, which could leave them without a home and without a business. A knock at the door startled him. It was nearly 10 p.m., too late for casual visitors. When he opened the door, Eliza Montgomery stood in his hallway, looking oddly out of place in the dingy corridor of his apartment building. "How did you find where I live?" he asked, not bothering to hide his annoyance. "I have resources," she said simply. "May I come in?" Against his better judgment, Jake stepped aside. Eliza entered, her eyes taking in the modest apartment with its mismatched furniture and walls covered in Lily's artwork. "I came to apologize," she said, surprising him. "My approach was insensitive." Jake crossed his arms. That's one word for it. I'm not accustomed to being denied what I want, she admitted. But you were right. I've been thinking about parenthood as a project to be managed rather than a relationship to be nurtured. Why me? Jake asked the question that had been bothering him since their first encounter. There are thousands of men in this city who would jump at whatever you're offering. Why pick a struggling coffee shop owner? Eliza's perfect composure faltered. I read about you. About how you left your corporate job after your wife died to be there for your daughter. How you built that coffee shop from nothing so you could set your own hours and never miss a school event. She paused. That kind of dedication is rare in my world. So what now? You still want to make a transaction? No, she said quietly. I want to understand. I want to know what makes someone like you tick. Maybe then I can figure out if I have what it takes to be a parent at all. The vulnerability in her voice caught Jake off guard. For the first time, he saw past the billionaire facade to the woman underneath, a woman who, for all her success and power, was afraid of failing at something he did every day. I'm not some parenthood guru, he said, his tone softening. I'm just figuring it out as I go. Then let me figure it out with you, she said. Not as a donor. Just, show me what it's really like. Let me see if I can handle the reality before I take this step. Jake should have said no. He should have shown her the door and gone back to his bills. Instead, he heard himself say, Lily has a science fair on Saturday. Be here at 9 a.m. if you want a crash course in parenthood. Eliza arrived at 8:45 on Saturday morning, dressed in what she clearly thought was casual attire, designer jeans that probably cost more than Jake's monthly rent and a silk blouse that would be ruined by the first encounter with glitter glue. Lily eyed the stranger suspiciously from behind her father's legs. Who are you? This is Ms. Montgomery, Jake explained. She's a friend who's going to help us with your science project today. Do you know about volcanoes? Lily asked, warming up slightly. I have a theoretical understanding of volcanic eruptions, Eliza replied stiffly. Lily giggled. You talk funny. Come see my project. What followed was a day unlike any in Eliza Montgomery's carefully controlled life. She helped mix baking soda and vinegar for Lily's volcano, getting red food coloring on her blouse within the first hour. She listened to Lily's endless questions, many of which she couldn't answer despite her Harvard education. She witnessed a meltdown when the volcano's first eruption was less spectacular than anticipated, and watched in awe as Jake calmly talked his daughter through her disappointment. By the time they arrived at the school gymnasium for the science fair, Eliza had abandoned her heels for a pair of Jake's old sneakers, comically large on her feet, and had her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail after Lily insisted on making her pretty. Is this what every day is like? She whispered to Jake as they watched Lily proudly demonstrate her volcano to the judges. This is actually a good day, Jake replied with a smile. No one's thrown up or had a nightmare or decided they hate their favorite food without warning. How do you do it? How do you handle the chaos? Jake shrugged. You just do. Because they need you to. As they walked home, Lily skipping ahead with her participation ribbon, not first place, but she was thrilled nonetheless. Eliza felt something shift inside her. The day had been exhausting, messy, and completely unpredictable, everything she typically avoided in her meticulously organized life. Yet she felt more alive than she had in years. Thank you, she said quietly to Jake. For today. It was just a science fair, he replied. It was more than that, and you know it. Over the next few weeks, Eliza became a strange but increasingly familiar presence in Jake and Lily's life. She joined them for dinner, learning that cooking wasn't as simple as following a protocol, accompanied them to the park, discovering that expensive clothes were no match for mud puddles, and even attended one of Lily's dance recitals, finding herself inexplicably moved to tears by a group of 7-year-olds performing an uncoordinated routine to Let It Go. Jake watched with a mixture of amusement and grudging respect as the formidable businesswoman gradually softened around the edges. She still checked her phone constantly and occasionally took calls that made her transform back into the intimidating CEO, but those moments became less frequent. "Why are you always at our house?" Lily asked Eliza one evening as they built a fort out of blankets and chairs in the living room. Eliza froze, looking to Jake for help, but he merely raised an eyebrow, curious about her answer. "I'm learning," Eliza finally said. "Learning what?" "Daddy says I have to go to school for learning." "I'm learning about families," Eliza admitted. "About what it's like to be part of one." Lily considered this. "Don't you have a family?" "Not really. My parents died when I was young, and I never had brothers or sisters." "That's sad," Lily declared. "Everyone should have a family." She thought for a moment, then brightened. "You can share ours. Right, Daddy?" Jake, caught off guard, stammered, "Lily, it's not that simple." "Why not?" his daughter demanded with the straightforward logic of a child. "We have extra space at our table. And Daddy smiles more when you're here." Jake felt his face grow warm as Eliza turned to look at him with surprise. "I think that's enough fort building for tonight," he said quickly. "Bedtime, pumpkin." Later, after Lily was asleep, Eliza and Jake sat on his small balcony, the city lights twinkling below them. "I should apologize for Lily," Jake said. "Kids don't have filters." "Don't apologize. Her honesty is refreshing." Eliza paused. "Is it true, though? That you smile more when I'm around?" Jake looked away. "Maybe. It's been a long time since I had adult conversation that didn't revolve around coffee orders. It's been a long time since I had conversations that didn't revolve around profit margins," she admitted. "This past month has been educational." "And? Have you decided if you're cut out for parenthood?" Eliza was quiet for a long moment. "I've learned that it's harder than I imagined, but also more rewarding. I've learned that I know nothing about cartoon characters or how to make the perfect peanut butter sandwich. I've learned that I'm terrified of failing at something that matters this much." She met his eyes. "But I've also learned that I want it more than I've ever wanted anything." "So what's your plan now? Find another potential donor who won't give you such a hard time?" "Actually," she said carefully, "I was hoping you might reconsider. Not as a transaction, but as a partnership of sorts." Jake stared at her. "What exactly are you proposing?" "I don't know," she admitted, which might have been the first time those words had ever left her lips. "I just know that when I imagine having a child now, I can't picture doing it without." She trailed off. "Without what?" "Without someone who knows what they're doing. Without someone who cares more about bedtime stories than balance sheets. Without you." The admission hung in the air between them, heavy with implications neither was ready to fully address. "Eliza," Jake said gently, "I can't just donate genetic material and walk away. That's not who I am." "I'm not asking you to walk away," she said. "I'm asking you to walk with me." The proposal Eliza eventually presented was unlike anything Jake could have imagined. She wanted to create a co-parenting arrangement, not a romantic relationship, but a partnership focused on raising a child together. She would provide financial security, he well.